by sharing with you an account that I heard. This is about a minister, a seminary-trained minister, who had been educated as much as a minister can be educated. But he had one problem. The one problem that he had, he loved to help people. That wasn't the problem. He deeply cared for people. But he had liberal understandings in his theology. That means that he doubted certain things like the virgin birth, like the blood atonement, like the crucifixion, like the resurrection, like the incarnation. He doubted those things, and he actually taught against them. One night, he was at his home, and a knock came to the door. He opened the door, and there was this little ragged, frightened girl. The little girl looked up at him and said, "Are you a minister?" And he said, "Yes, I am." She said, "Are you a man of God?" And he said, "Well, I hope to think that I am." She said, "Will you please come and help my mommy get in?" He said, "Is she drunk or what's wrong with her?" She said she's dying. She told me to come find a minister. Could you please come and help my mommy? So he followed this little girl. He said he followed her and went through all the back streets and came to this very humble hovel of a house. And as he walked in, there were no doctors there, no nurses, nothing like a hospice there. This desperately sick woman, who he did discover was dying, and this poor frightened girl who had been going through that with her mother. The mother looked up as she realized that the daughter had brought this man. She says, "Are you a minister?" He says, "Yes, I am." Same question again. "Are you a man of God?" He says, "Yes, I am." She says, "Can you help me understand how to get into heaven?" With all his training, he began to give her platitudes about the goodness of God, how beautiful heaven is, and how there are benefits in living a godly, productive life. And her head shook, and she said, "I'm dying. I can't do any of those things. Please help me understand how to get in to heaven." For the first time in his life, he realized he had nothing to say to a dying woman. God brought to his mind his own mother, who had raised him, that he kind of looked down on. But she had taught him year after year her beliefs. And he shared with this dying woman that his mother had taught him that Jesus Christ came to this earth as God's Son, lived a perfect life, was dealt a cruel death on a cross. He said his mother believed that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. His mother used to always tell him John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life." He told that story years later at a pastor's conference. And when he told it at the pastor's conference, he made this statement. He said, "That night, that lady got in." And he says, "I got in too. I got in too." It's very simple. God did not make it complicated. The righteousness that God provides is not something we earn. It's not something we do. Our faith rests upon God's provision in his Son, Jesus Christ. That is God's righteousness. The Jews missed it. They sought to establish their own and to do things that made God their debtor. And God said, "There's one thing I accept. That is the sinless blood of my Son, Jesus Christ."